Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In today's video, we're gonna see what the most powerful devil fruits are in the entire One Piece story, whether they're Zoan, Paramecia, or even Logia, which are the actual strongest fruits, period. The question we could also ask is what would be Luffy's reaction if he ever finds out that he, who has always been underestimated, has one of the most powerful fruits in the world? And what of his former rivals? Let's see the fruit that ranks the top in this video. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like and even subscribe and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. We have the animenomi, otherwise known as the flame fruit. Now this was formerly used by Porcus the Ace, but after losing his life, his blood brother Sabo managed to acquire and eat the fruit and thus obtained the powers of Ace's flames. Now the flame fruit gives the user the ability to control, shoot, and cover their body with scalding flames, in addition to the intangibility that all Logias possesses. But as with all Logia, the user can be hit through attacks imbued with Haki or another hotter element like magma. Hibi no Mi, model Yamata no Orochi. Now this fruit is used by Kurozomi Orochi, but after his death and he lost his life, the fruit has no other bearer, and we may in fact see this fruit show up later in the One Piece universe. But through this fruit, this user is able to transform into kind of an 8-headed dragon or Hydra. Through this multi-headed transformation, user gets a very special ability that few other devil fruits have, in that the user gains 8 extra lives. And until all 8 heads are cut off, user is able to restore themselves until they lose their life for good. Now, much like any other Zoan, the user acquires great strength, speed, and resistance to attack, putting that together with the additional lives. If this fruit were ever to fall into the hands of an adequate user, the person would become a formidable opponent indeed. The next fruit we'll talk about is owned by one of the most favorite villains that we've ever had in the story of One Piece, and that of course is the Ito no Mi, or string fruit. This fruit is owned by Don Quixote do Flamingo, and with it he can produce threads from his body that are used to create clones, trap enemies, and through his awakening, he can even turn the whole world into string. Not only that, he's also able to use it to repair himself and even swing across the clouds as if he is flying. Next, we have the Suna no Mi, or the Sand fruit. Now this fruit is in possession of former warlord and current Crosskill member, Sir Crocodile. This fruit gives him the ability to transform his entire body into sand, and also allows him to manipulate sand around him and even perform quite lethal attacks with the same sand. Now because of the Logia ability, he does have intangibility, but enemies can strike the user if they use water or some other liquid on their body. It's also susceptible to attacks that are imbued with Haki. Next we have the Hiya no Mi, or the Ice fruit. This fruit is currently in the possession of former admiral and current commander of the Blackbeard pirates, Aokiji. Now the ice fruit gives him the ability to freeze anything he touches, allowing him to create swords, spears, and any other weapon he wants during combat. This fruit can be used for other purposes as well, such as freezing the entire sea, allowing the user to walk on the sea surface peacefully without ever having to worry about sinking, and the user can even freeze a person. Unlike many of the other Logia, this fruit's intangibility is a bit strange. The opponent can physically attack the user, causing the fruit user's body to break as if it were ice, but the user can then reconstitute their body as if nothing happened. And like all other Logia, this one has several weaknesses, such as to the element of fire, lava, or any other element that can cause the temperature of the environment to rise. Doki no Mi, or poison fruit. This fruit is currently in the possession of Impel Down's warden and head jailer Magellan, and through it he can manipulate and attack poison on anyone. And Magellan can even form different kinds of animals and constructs by means of this poison, and the bearer can even transform into a sort of a poison creature, managing to take the life of anyone that they touch while in this monstrous form. But again, it is something that is exuded from his body rather than him becoming intangible like a Logia user. Hito no Mi, model Daibutsu. Now this fruit was eaten by the former fleet admiral Sengoku, and it gives the user the ability to transform into the statue of a giant golden Buddha, making them gain absurd strength, as well as the ability to create a kind of aura around their hand, making it possible to create an aura of impact. Although we may not have gotten to see all of Sengoku's full strength, this fruit is a mythical Zoan, thus it's one of the rarest Zoans in existence, possessing one of the greatest strengths and endurance of all the Zoan fruits. Our next Logia is the Gorogoro no Mi, also known as the lightning fruit. Now this fruit is currently used by the false god Enel, and through this fruit, its bearer can use the lightning element in any way they wish, and even throw powerful lightning bolts at their enemies or to defend themselves from attacks. Due to the nature and energy type of lightning, this fruit also allows the user to amplify their observation Haki, making the user feel the presence of living beings at quite a long distance from their current position. As with all Logia, the bearer of this fruit also has the classic intangibility, but it can be nullified through Haki or even an insulator like rubber. Next, we have the Zushi no Mi, the fruit of gravity. This fruit is used by Admiral Fujitora, and he can control gravity as he sees fit, oppressing his opponents with heavy gravity, sending his enemies flying into the sky, or even summoning giant meteors onto the spot to cause a huge explosion. We come to the Pika no Mi, otherwise known as the Light or Glint fruit. Now, its user is Borsalino, the Admiral Kizaru, and with this fruit, he becomes able to coat his body completely with light, and even is able to move at the speed of light itself. But one drawback, even though the speed of light is incredibly high, the user can only move in a straight line and attack through light paths that they draw. But even so, the user is still able to use light in their attacks. With this power, the user can shoot light projectiles, bolts, and even create weapons like swords, enabling them to face opponents who use swords or other weapons. And just like the other Logia fruits, the Fruit of Light has an intangibility, where only the users of Haki or an element opposite of the fruit can physically hit the user. Another possibility for the most powerful would be the Uo no Mi model Seryu. This is one of the most powerful fruits in the work of One Piece, and the Uo no Mi was eaten by Kaido, who gains the ability to transform into a mythological dragon that possesses unusual and uncanny strength. The user of this fruit can transform into a large dragon with immense destructive power, and because it's a mythical Zoan, its bearer gains an increase in strength, speed, and durability in its hybrid form. Next, we come to one of the greatest offensive powers of all the Logia, and that's the Magma no Mi, or the Magma fruit. This fruit is used by Admiral Akainu, and the fruit gives Sakazuki the ability to transform his body into magma, and it also has the power to shoot large amounts of lava at his opponents. The heat emitted by this element is so great that the user can even pierce someone's body with a single magma-covered punch, making it one of the most offensive powered fruits in the world. And its user not only possesses intangibility, but those who don't use Haki and physically hit the user have their hand or body part touch burned, making it impossible for users without Haki to ever face the owner of the Magma no Mi. We come to the Yami no Mi, the Fruit of Darkness. At first, it was found by Thatch, the 4th commander of the Whitebeard Pirates, but Teach, who had been laying in wait for many years, managed to steal the fruit and took possession of its power, becoming the user of this darkness. The power of this fruit is capable of swallowing anything it wants with this darkness, even light, which means that this fruit is kind of a black hole on a smaller scale, allowing the user to nullify the power of other Devil Fruit users with just one touch. Now, unlike other Logia, the Fruit of Darkness doesn't come with intangibility because of the all-absorbing darkness. In fact, the damage that the user receives goes straight to their body, and not only that, they receive twice the damage that they would have otherwise taken. And speaking of the Whitebeard Pirates, we couldn't complete this list without talking about the Goro no Mi, or Quake Fruit. The former user of this fruit was none other than Edward Newgate, otherwise known as Whitebeard. But after losing his life, it was stolen by Marshall D. Teach, also known as Blackbeard. Through this fruit, it gives him the ability to create powerful shockwaves and earthquakes, capable of changing the layout of a place, and is considered one of the most destructive devil fruits in the world. In addition to the tremendous offensive power of this fruit, it also gives the user the ability to coat their attacks in these vibrations, becoming a very powerful attack and defense when used on their opponents. And the final is the Hito no Mi model Nika. Undoubtedly, this is the most important fruit of our entire story of One Piece, because this is the fruit of the main character, Monkey D. Luffy. Now, of course, this fruit was historically known as the Gomu no Mi, a name given to it by the Gorosei to hide the true nature of this fruit. Through this fruit, the user can obtain a body made entirely of rubber, allowing it to stretch and become much more resistant to physical attacks, and even makes it possible for the user to do things that ordinary people just can't do with their body, such as swelling up their arms and legs to gigantic sizes. With the awakening of this fruit, the user can obtain the complete power of the fruit, becoming the sun god Nika. The resistance of the user increases a lot, besides giving them the immense, ridiculous power of total freedom, only being limited by their imagination. So as we bring our video to a close, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching the video, especially those of you who've hung out all the way here to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.